Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to CrashTalk Sports. I am your host, Matt Bunton. I am here with
Jayden Foster
and Thomas Larsen.
And Stevie Begano is unfortunately not here. He is sick, which means that we don't have to hear any Bears yap.
Not that he'd have much. They lost.
Oh, yeah.
Off a Hail Mary.
Horrifically. We're going to start with our very own 12 Bridges football varsity football team, where we actually saw a really, pretty dang good game coming out of Dale. Connor Flaherty, he put up 14 completions out of 16 attempts, which is an 87.5% completion rate. That's a pretty dang good rating, honestly. He did not put up any touchdowns personally.
How many yards?
About 200, 214.
214 off only 14 completions?
Yeah. Meaning he averaged about 15.3 per completion. Other notable things to point out as well is Braden Ward put up another 200-yard game, which is just insane. And he had 6 touchdowns.
6?
6. One game, 6 touchdowns.
Crazy.
What about the other 2?
The other 2 rushing touchdowns, because they did have 8 total rushing touchdowns, by the way, came from actually Connor Flaherty himself ran it in
twice,
so, just once,
sense.
And then we had a Gavin Rappa rushing touchdown. Braden Ward averaging over 10 yards a carry. Obviously, that's a very good stat line to have. 10 yards per carry is where I say, in high school, that's where you get pretty elite. If you're averaging a first down every time you touch that football.
That's just crazy.
It's just crazy. Yeah.
He's like that one dude in Boise, Ashton Gent, something like that. Yeah, he's averaging. I don't know what he's averaging anymore. I don't know if it's still 10 yards, but he's on pace to break a lot of records. That's all I know. He's having just an amazing season, and if he keeps this up, I don't know how old is he? He's a junior, so he could
probably 21.
So he could go in for the draft, and I feel like he'd probably be a first-round pick, to be honest.
Agreed.
But I'd wonder who would get him.
I think right now he's the favorite to win the Heisman.
Who else is there other than that?
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter's not winning the Heisman, dude.
I don't know. He's having a good year.
Shadir Sanders.
No.
Shadir Sanders. Sleeper. Dark horse.
I think Milroe might be top 5.
Anyways, I think that 10 yards per carry just kind of goes to show also the coaching scheme. The coaches know when to use him. Because what you see with a lot of top tier running backs is their value ends up going down because they don't really average as much as other quarterbacks because they're just being utilized in the wrong way. They just force it down their throats every time because they don't have a valid QB. But when we have a valid QB, then we can actually also rush the football. And that means that you're not just force-feeding someone, resulting in just 1-yard gains. You're having a guy that actually will get the first down, most of the time when he touches the football.
Agree. And as he said before, a lot of the credit goes to our fantastic O-line. Creating holes and downfield blocking. So.
That O-line, I have a lot of people that I know on that O-line. They're all really good, disciplined players as well. You don't see a ton of holds on that O-line, which is always nice to have. Now, when the refs are against us, then you're going to see more of that, which does happen in high school football. It's pretty apparent that that refs will go towards the bias of the worst overall team. It's extremely common. Nonetheless, defensively, also a great game. We led up 20 points to a Roseville team, which was at the time 6-2. Roseville is a good team, and being able to beat someone that well really shows that we really do have a shot at our championship. We can really come back from last year in a tougher division and actually make it through.
You think we're gonna lose off a field goal again?
Huh?
Think we're gonna lose off a field goal again?
I think we have a good chance to win sections this year, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I know Mr. Bean doesn't want to lose again. He was.
Mr. Bean will not lose again. No. He's not taking that.
We already dealt with Casa Roble this year.
Yeah,
and
we embarrassed them as well.
Playoffs are a different breed. They are so different. It's a lot more gritty because it's win or go home then, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just so much more of a tougher environment, a different environment that is. And I don't know how they work with home field advantage if it's seeded that way, like the NFL. But if you have home field advantage in any kind of playoffs, high school, college, the NFL, it's such a big advantage, more than I think anybody really understands.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When you have the crowd for you, and in high school, the refs, it's just so different.
Oh yeah, for sure. As someone who's also played under both scenarios, I can confirm that it is way easier to play on a crowd that is actually rooting for you to win. And honestly, when you're a home crowd, since the stands are just bigger and more people show up, it drowns out all the bad noise. Like, it's just, it's all just play the game in your mind. But when you're away, you're hearing all of the boos, you're hearing all of the all the chants that are going the other way. The morale is low. It's definitely a game changer to have that home playoff game. I'm actually gonna pull up some stats from last year. You were talking about how playoffs are a different breed, and you're not wrong. I just want to pull this up. Since we were home for both of our playoff games outside of the championship, we actually won 67-25 against Rosemont, which was our home game, and 53-14 against Los Banos, which is, those were both home games. And I think it's really all about having that home chance. We are the number 1 seed, so we would get a home game, assuming that we do win this coming week, which I have a good feeling that we will.
Yeah, no Campo ain't nothing to sweat about.
So, you know what? Whoever it comes down to, I think depends on the next few games as to who we're going to play against. But having that home field advantage is going to be big.
Yeah, well, what you just listed off, when we have home field advantage, we tend to score like 50 points.
Yeah.
And the other teams just can barely get anything to go. Probably most of their points are in garbage time. Fourth quarter, when we take out all our starters and put on the bench guys.
Well, to that end, we didn't score in the fourth quarter against Roseville, neither did they. We had 55 and 3 quarters.
Did pull starters.
They pulled starters out in the fourth quarter. They probably pulled most of them out, to be honest. Most of them are backups, and I don't think Roseville took out any of their guys. I wouldn't think they would. Maybe they did because they saw as an insurmountable comeback. But even our backups, I feel like if someone were to get injured, I feel like our backups could step up and
oh yeah, there's definitely some backups on that team that can definitely make things happen. So, interesting statistic. Okay, I'm looking right now, and I believe every single home game that we have had, I'm just double checking this, but yes, every single home game that we've had, we have won by at least 2 scores. Now, away
have we had
games,
a close game yet?
Reed High School was our closest game. It was a 3-point game. So there was that. But yeah, any home game we've dominated in. Nevada Union 55-7. River Valley 66-20. Whitney High School, we won 52-34. That was our closest home game. And then against Christian Brothers, 28-10.
This might be a stupid question, and it's kind of it's on the topic of school football, but do you think there would ever be a chance? Like, I don't think it's gonna happen this year. I have no idea what the records are, but do you think in the future there could be like a 12 Bridges Lincoln playoff game? Or aren't they in separate divisions?
We are now. We switched divisions with them, so that is.
So we went up and they went
technically
down?
not possible. Yes, they went down to where we were, which was D5, and we went up to where they were, which was D3.
Oh, D3.
Which I don't think they're having a terrible year this year.
They are not. So from what I understand, they've won 6 games, so they're 6-3 at the moment. I know that they won all of their preseason games, and then they lost what was it? They lost 3 games straight off of their preseason. So once they turned to league games, they lost 3 straight, and then they won another 3 straight, I think. So, but I mean, it's possible. I know that the district seems to not want us to play each other.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, we've played each other in other sports, just not football yet.
I think it's because they don't want a hometown rivalry for whatever reason, even though hometown rivalries tend to...
They're always so...
They sell so much better, and they're entertaining.
Well, I think our most...
They're turning away...
I think we sold out the one against Whitney.
They're turning away free money. That is so much money you could make. Even the visitor stands will be filled. Even if it's at Lincoln or if it's at 12 Bridges, the visitor side will be filled. Especially the home side will be filled like it is almost every single week. They are turning down a huge opportunity, especially since they've done every other sport. Basketball. Have they done volleyball?
Yeah.
They've done volleyball.
That was the first thing they did.
What else they do? I don't know any of the other sports.
I think basketball and volleyball is the only ones they've done.
Okay,
So far.
and they just still haven't done football. I think it's absolutely ridiculous and just
I agree.
stupid.
I think a lot of people agree too. I know Coach Bean talked about it before, saying that it was stupid and ridiculous. I know that there's been a lot of disappointment between both sides on the actual football teams. I mean, if we could see it in the future, that could be one of the coolest rivalries, like, ever. I mean, I know they're worried that there's going to be, like, hatred between the two schools. I don't think so, because I'm friends with so many Lincoln kids, and honestly, it's kind of like how it is in a lot of other sports. Like, I have a friend that's a Cowboys fan, right? And I hate the Cowboys so much. But, you know, when they play each other, it's all, like, kind of love and hate relationship, like, throughout the entire game, and then once it's over, it's over. Like,
I think they just totally overplay the, like, because, okay, to be honest, a lot of kids, they don't care if you go to 12 Bridges, or they don't care. 12 Bridges kids don't care if you're at Lincoln. Lincoln kids don't care if you're at 12 Bridges. It's not really serious. I'm sure the football field will be different. It'll be a little bit more gritty, because those kids probably know each other too. They probably went to school with each other at one point. Yeah. Probably played with each other at one point, junior peewees or whatever that they did. So it'll be a little bit more. It's like a friendly rivalry. Hold on. Rivalry.
Yeah,
there
for sure. I think we don't have much time in this episode. It's been predominantly just local sports today, which honestly, I wanted to try it out anyways. I feel like having a more prominent local sports could be a fun episode, just, you know, talking about our own football team. But we are going to delve into pro sports temporarily, just really quickly, just run it over. And we're going to start with that Bears game since Stevie's not here to defend himself. It was a terrible game, honestly.
Yeah,
like, it was a
snooze
boring
fest.
game, snooze fest, low scoring. I believe Caleb Williams threw for 86 yards.
I love defensive games, so that game was amazing to watch.
Actually, on that flip side, actually, I do like defensive games. I watched that game, actually. It wasn't that bad, but it was kind of annoying just to see. The thing is, all right, it was a really good defensive game for the Bears, and that was fun to watch. But for the Commanders, it was really just the Bears being incompetent on offense, and that's what I didn't like to see.
Yeah, I watched it. Bobby Wagner is so washed to the point where he's a liability on that defense. He's not even close to what he was. He's not commanding that defense to the extent that he needs to, because when I was watching it, a lot of them looked a little lost, and especially at the pro level, you cannot look lost ever. Offenses now, especially now, are so good. They are so lucky that the Bears have a terrible offensive coordinator.
Yeah, the Bears coaching is a problem, and we're also just going to touch on one last thing before we're going to finish up this episode, since, all right, we'll just, like, talk about this real quick. Niners won.
We're
Brock Purdy
so back.
played good.
No, we're not,
You are
Thomas.
not
we only
so
beat them by
back.
6. The Lions beat them by like 50.
You beat the Cowboys by 6. They're not a good team this year.
We're cooked.
But at the very least, you can sit pretty knowing that people who are talking about how Brock Purdy is a system quarterback can kind of shut their mouths because you did win against the Cowboys and you guys didn't have your weapons. Besides that, Eagles won. It was an awesome game. I wish I could talk about it more. We just don't have the time. But I'm very happy with that, 37-17.
Who'd they play? Bengals?
Bengals.
Dude, their defense is so bad.
So, besides that, last thing I want to talk about, Tyrique Stevenson. You guys saw that, right?
Tyrique Stevenson. Who's he play for again?
The Bears.
The Bears, what about him?
So, during that last play on that Hail Mary, the end play, he was on the right side of the field, and he started taunting the fans. And it was a terrible display of sportsmanship. He was taunting the fans, and then he turned his head, and the play had already started. He ran over, and he was the one that ended up knocking the ball up in the air, and which was caught by Noah Brown.
That's just straight karma, dude. That's just, you got what you deserved at that point.
A lot of Bears fans currently are calling that he's benched for at least a game. We're going to see how that develops, but that is all we have time for today. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been CrashTalk Sports. I'm your host, Matt Bunton.
Jayden Foster.
And Thomas Larsen.
Signing out.